Good morning, options traders. Well, it's hump day and time for another good little tip on trading. And this one is super important because I hear this from traders all the time about how much they like to roll their options. And yes, we do know that there are advantages to rolling, but people take it to an extreme and they think that these rolls just generate credits. I hear things like, oh, I'm getting paid, I'm generating income. All of those are false. Credits are costly. The question is, where is the cost coming from? What exactly are you selling for that credit? Let's go have a closer look. As always, before we do, please be sure to click like and subscribe. It's greatly appreciated and helps so much to promote the channel. So let's start off with a basic example. Let's say you buy a $100 call and you perhaps pay $6 for it. And the idea is that if the stock rises, you can collect a credit. And traders are thinking, well, I've got $6 into the position. These credits will reduce my cost basis, and eventually I can end up with a free trade. That's a really big misperception, but a lot of times traders are thinking, well, let me at least get my $6 back. So the idea of the roll, the basic idea, is to reduce your cost basis but still keep the call. And this is what gives traders the illusion that it's for free. These credits are just falling from the sky. I had a call before, I've got a call after, but I've also got this big pile of money. And what happens if you have that perception, that misperception, is that you're going to want to roll all the time. So anyway, that's again the idea behind the rolls. Now what I tell traders as a basic rule, if you're going to roll, that you should roll when you can receive about 80% of the difference in strikes. And the reason I tell traders this is that, as you'll see later in this video, it's to try to keep the brakes on. Try not to get too aggressive with the rolling just because you see credits. So for example, what do we mean by this 80% of the difference in strikes? So in our example, you bought a $100 call. The way that you would roll it would be to sell your $100 call and then perhaps buy the 105 call. You're just switching or rolling from the 100 strike to the 105. So notice that this is a $5 difference in strikes. We take 80% of this difference, and that is a $5 difference. So 80% of $5 is $4. And what this means is that if you can collect a $4 credit for this roll, it's not necessarily a bad thing to do. But if you don't have this type of a rule of thumb to fall back on, traders say, oh, I can get 50 cents or $1. It's free money. Let me roll it and I'll still have a call option. That's the reason I tell traders to use this 80% rule, is to try to not be so aggressive with the rolls. So you can see that this is actually a vertical spread, and that's the way you would want to enter it on your broker's platform. You're going to be selling the $100 call to close, buying the 105 call to open, and that is simply just selling the 100-105 vertical spread. So again, we can see that we started off with a long 100 call. When you sell your 100 call and buy the 105, this is the vertical spread, and these cancel. You're long 100 call and short 100 call from the short vertical. So when the trade executes, when this short vertical spread executes, you're just left with the long 105 call. You have rolled or switched from the 100 strike to the 105 strike, and you now have a credit to boot. So here's what it looks like graphically. We started with the 100 strike. Remember, we always get a bend right here on our expiration graph at the strike. We paid 6, so that's our maximum loss. If we roll from the 100 strike to the 105 for a $4 credit, we shift this maximum loss up. So the reason that we now have a maximum loss of 2 is that we initially spent 6, we just collected $4 in our pocket. So now if this 105 call blows up, we only have $2 at risk. That's the idea behind it. If the stock goes up again, we can collect another $4 credit. I might switch from the 105 call to the 110. And now I have a guaranteed gain of 2, or as some traders like to say, a negative cost basis of 2. It's as if somebody paid us to take this call. And that's what really gives the illusion that we're getting something for nothing. Because traders say, hey, look, even if the 110 call goes out worthless, I still have $2. I paid $6, I've collected $8. The worst that can happen is I make 2. However, I still have unlimited upside, as we can see from this green line. And once again, this is what sets up the illusion. They say I had unlimited gains with the red line right here from our 100 call, and I still have unlimited gains with the green line from our 110 call. But they don't understand what is missing. What did they give up? So that's really what we want to find out in this video. Where do the credits come from? The credits do not come from free money or generating income. The credits come from giving up probability. You're getting paid to give up some of the payable states, some of the areas that you would have received money on, but now are not. Now, this is a harder thing to see if we're going to look at bell curves and distributions and call options. So let me show you a simpler example. Let's look at a roulette wheel, and this is the way the table looks like in a casino. We just place our chips on the various bets. So we could bet on an individual number. I could bet on the first 12 numbers, the second 12. You can bet on columns, odd or even, red and black. There's all kinds of bets that you can do. But let's just use this as our state space or the bell curve. These are all of the possibilities. So let's say if you buy a stock, you're buying the entire board. You're taking all of the gains and all of the losses. If you buy a call, it's similar to putting chips down on just some of the payable states. So in my example with the $100 call, we only want to get paid for all stock prices above 100. We don't want any losses below 100. That's a big benefit, and of course we have to pay for that. That's where the extrinsic value is coming from. But now think of this. We have a pretty good probability of getting some type of a win on this roulette wheel. Now again, just for this example, let's pretend that there's no house edge. These are all paid off at fair value. And so we've got a pretty good probability here. We have 12 chips out of 38 spaces. So where does the roll come from? So let's say that we go, okay, now I want to roll my chips, so to speak. And we'll stick with the same analogy of getting a $4 credit. These are $1 chips. So watch this. If I remove 4 chips, I can say, wow, look at that. I have 4 chips in my pocket. I have a credit of 4. Okay, great. Where did it come from? And what I want you to do now is to point to the 4 spaces that we're not getting paid on. See, this is the part that people miss when they roll. You are reducing the areas where you get paid. And that's why it's a very slippery slope when people say, I had a call option in the beginning with my 100 strike. I still have it with the 110 strike. So I haven't really given up anything. I've just collected credits. And that is not true. You're giving up areas where you're going to make money. You're also giving up compounding. So let's say we do a second roll. Watch this. Boom. Take 4 chips off. Congratulations. You have another $4 credit. Did you get paid? Was it free money? Was it generating income? No, you just sold off valuable real estate. See, now you're not getting paid in these 8 spaces. And that's the part that people miss. Now again, I'm not saying that rolling is bad. What I am saying is that most traders misinterpret it. They think it's free money, getting paid, generating income, and that we have a call in the beginning, we have a call at the end, so we haven't given up anything. And what you have to understand is that there is a very real, a very big cost of rolling. So the main thing to take from this is that credits aren't free. Credits come from giving up probability. You're selling valuable real estate. Now, another thing that I'm going to be talking about in some of the future videos is that risk migrates. It's another principle in finance, and we can see it here with the roll. Let's say when we had a lower strike call, maybe the 100 strike, we had higher deltas, we had lower theta. Remember, Deeper in the money options don't have a lot of extrinsic value, so they don't decay as much. We also have lower vega. All of these Greeks get maximized at the money, with the exception of delta, but these are away from the money. They're very deep in the money. When we roll to a higher strike call, what happens? Now we have these types of effects. We have a lower delta, higher theta, higher vega. So notice what we swapped. Not only did we swap probability space, but I used to have a higher delta, all things being equal, that was better, and I've switched it for a lower delta. I used to have lower theta, all things being equal was better, now I have higher theta. I used to have lower vega, typically that would be a good thing unless you're trying to play vega, but we don't have a big exposure to vega, but now we do. So once again, it's showing in this case that those risks don't disappear, they simply change form. That's what we call risk migration. But for right now, the thing to take from this is that don't roll just because you get a credit. Roll because the higher strike has better properties for what you're trying to accomplish. And by making better decisions, you'll have better outcomes. And for anyone who'd like to learn more about the arts and science of options trading, please check out the Alpha Trader course, Strategy Lab, and a Candlesticks and Technical Analysis course. It's all at optionsatoz.com. Also, please join us on Options A to Z's Facebook trading group, and you can find a link in the description below.